G'day guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Boundry Riders Podcast. Today we have a lot to talk about, a little bit of breaking news talking around the AFL world. We'll be making our Player 2024 predictions, and we also have some world sport, taking a look at the Asian Cup with Australia, the NFL playoffs, and much more. But let's roll the intro and get straight into it. And then Rankin from the pocket, don't tell me, Isaac Rankin!
Yeah.
He's just got the license for a brothel.
Well, I think Gather Round's going to be more than just AFL this next season.
It's at the handle at the back, Nick Dacos to get the prize home! He's done it! So as always guys, we are joined by my brother in Jack. The AFL prediction, rumours, all that sort of stuff, even the pre-season's all started now, so we're actually getting some news piling in.
Yeah.
Probably the big talking point going into probably the last day or so was GWS and the fact that they are maybe planning on going to the US and playing some home and away games there. Now, in the past, I've probably thought a little bit small-minded, thinking, oh, that's stupid, who cares, fucking US sucks, blah, blah, blah. But I think now's the time when AFL needs to try and broaden its viewership and try to get across the country, across the world.
Yeah, I think it's about time, and I think... like we've seen in Australia, AFL been trying to explore different avenues, and they haven't they've tried China, they've tried New Zealand, they've tried a bit of, but they haven't tried the US yet. And I think
I do remember though. Do you remember this would have been 10, 15 years ago when they used to play pre-season games around the world? I think they played a game in Egypt and they've played games in all kinds of places. But I think they need to have some games like home and away. Like we see the NFL do it. We're obviously seeing the NRL do it soon this year with the games. But this is something that the AFL needs to do and needs to do now. Because China, we're not going to get people from China watching the AFL. I'm sorry, but we're not. Yeah,
and I think also America's actually a good spot to do it in because of the fact that when it's our winter, obviously, it's their summer. So if they can pick a good spot to play it, let's say, like if we saw in the NFL this week how in like Buffalo and stuff like that, it was snowing. Like you're not going to get that conditions over in America in our winter. So I think there's a good chance that it's a good idea to play it in America. And they're saying that it should be Collingwood to play against them over there because of Mason Cox, and they think that that's a good...
Well, I mean, I don't mind the idea, but I don't think Collingwood would do it.
No, I don't think they would either.
I mean, they've got their 19 home games at the MCG, so when are they going to fit in that one game that they have away?
Yeah, they wouldn't cost up a MCG trip to go to the US. They would want one of their away games to be costing it.
But I think that's something that they did mess up as well with the China games, because they were sending Port Adelaide, who at the time were doing pretty well, but not the greatest team in the competition, but they were playing a lower team like St Kilda, or they were playing the Gold Coast.
They weren't playing a team that has a lot of fans and are known, especially around
I think Collingwood would actually be a really good idea because of the likes of like Mason Cox and the fact that they are the biggest club, so they would get a lot of fans, I think, from Australia to the US to do it. Yeah. And I think it's something that they can broaden on as well, because I think just having one game there probably isn't enough, to be honest. I think they would need like 2 or 3 games in a round over there. I know that sounds like a lot, but you have to get a certain amount of Australian fans over there. Yeah. As well as having the expats. Because I think that's what they've had the problem with the China game as well, was because, I know I can bring that up a lot, but that's really the only...
The most recent,
most recent overseas game that they've played. But even if you talk about New Zealand, they've only had the one game over in that specific country. Yeah. And, you know, if you're going over there for a trip to do other stuff, yeah, that's kind of fair. And then going to see the footy, or you live in America and you go to the game. But as someone, like me and you, for example, I could not see a reason to go over there to watch one game, especially if it's not my team. Yeah. But if you were seeing 3 or 4 games in the US... that, like, you know, genuinely you could be interested in, like, almost half the round is in the US, that would give an incentive for people who love the footy to go over to a different country and watch it. Yeah,
or you can split it over, like the NFL does, and their international games, they play over there 2 weeks or 3 weeks in a row, and there's multiple games you could go to over 2 or 3 weeks if they want to do it like that, and makes like 6 different teams go over there and they play it or something like that. And they've got to actually try and explore it. If they're going to do it, they've got to do it right.
Yeah, exactly. Not like AFLX and that sort of shit when they do something here and it's like, it's not even the sport that we know and love.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a video, I think I talked about it maybe on here, I've got a video planned about AFLX and stuff in the past and talking about how I think that's how the AFL really butchered the trying to explore the global I don't know, push for AFL. Yeah. I think that's really what they've messed up. They have not been able to do it. And it seems like, I know COVID obviously happened, but we really haven't seen a push to international really at all. Not an effective one. I think obviously the international rules games that we played against Ireland was kind of like a push with international, but again, that's not our sport.
No.
It's getting our best players to play in another country, but they're not playing our sport. And I think that, you know, they do have international competitions in the AFL, but no one really knows what's going on. It's not broadcast anywhere. I mean, the AFL website posted occasionally, like of what's going on, but no one really cares about it.
No, not at all.
So I think that's something that they need to do. I think the Giants is actually a pretty good team to get over to another country, to be honest, because especially like the US, if they could get a game in around New York area, I'm sure there'd be some New York Giants fans who'd be like, oh my God, there's another team called the Giants or whatever, and maybe get a couple of fans over there. That's something that you could think about. But yeah, I think that's something that the AFL need to explore, and I think that's a really good idea. But like you said, they need to get it right.
Yeah.
If they mess it up and do some stupid thing where they play one game over there, they send the Gold Coast over to play the Giants.
You don't get any fans.
You're not getting any fans there.
It's not like you're not going to get any fans here to watch. Any fans to watch that here.
We'll see how many they get in that gather around this year. The Gold Coast and GWS. I think
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how many people they go. But yeah, if they can't get that many, if they can't fill up Mount Barker Oval in South Australia, they're not going to fill up a big ground in the US.
Yeah, no.
So they got to get it right, the AFL. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up before we get into our predictions was a couple of injury news. Some injury news. Now there was a news. An Essendon draftee got ruptured his ACL a couple of days ago. That's really unfortunate. And there was a couple of others as well that we've seen so far. But one of the big ones as well is West Coast. Yet again, Liam Ryan, who only played 3 games in 2023, has done a pretty severe hamstring strain, I assume. He did have surgery on his opposite one, on his left leg last season, and now he's done it to his right leg. What's going on at the West Coast Eagles? I mean, and another one as well was Kobe McGill, I think, I don't know, whatever. Fucking, hey, I don't know who he is. Let's be honest, if he's in the injury list, he's probably going to be where most of the team will be for the majority of the season at this rate. Yeah. Because, again, they sit there and they put out a message saying basically that, injuries happen and the players, coming back from pre-season, that's a big issue as well, how they come back. So basically they've gone, what's the players' fault?
Yeah. Smart move, I thought, by Adam Simpson.
I thought that's a really good one from the West Coast Eagles. I thought, they've had a really tough couple of years, so what better to do than put it on the playing group? Yeah. Anyway, I think the Eagles seriously have some huge problems. And it's very early on in this preseason. This is supposed to be changing their club. Harley Reid's coming in. There's supposed to be some big changes coming through. And the first, couple of days off of preseason, and it's exactly the same. Injuries.
Start up straight.
Adam Simpson said in a press conference they've already had 2 or 3 injuries in the first couple of days of pre-season after Christmas. So clearly players aren't coming back very well.
Yeah.
To the top condition.
Same shit, different day, pretty much for West Coast.
Yeah, I think this is... imagine being a fan of the Eagles and hearing all this news. Like, Liam Ryan, in 2018 when they won the premiership, he was one of the best small forwards in the comp. Yeah. If you became a fan of the AFL in the last couple of years, you wouldn't even know who he is.
No, he played 3 games last season with all the injuries he had. He can't get on the field, and half the other players can't either. So.
And it's another soft tissue injury. It's not like a freak ACL. Yeah. This is another soft tissue injury for the Eagles, and things need to change. They can't be another team on the bottom of the ladder. They can't go bottom again because they are such a huge club. They're one of the biggest in the AFL, the biggest in WA, of course. Yeah. And the WA is a football state. So if they don't have either of their teams competing, it's not a very good look for them. No. At all. So we'll see how this plans out. Look, hopefully this is just a one-off and that Liam Ryan's hopefully he gets back pretty soon, maybe a couple of weeks into the season. But on previous history, you can't really trust this.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Now, one more thing quickly, we'll just quickly mention as well that I did put it on a community post and a couple of stuff on the socials, but this year, me and my brother will be running an AFL Fantasy League. Now, I'm sure most of the people watching this know what AFL Fantasy is. If you don't, basically you pick your favorite. You pick best team based on in real game statistics, and you get a bunch of points, and you pick your best fantasy team with a certain amount of money that you have. That's probably really bad how I've explained that, but if you do have an AFL Fantasy account, you do want to do AFL Fantasy this year. On screen right now is a code to join our league. There is 18 spots at this stage. It's an 18 spot league. I think there's me, you, and a couple of others at this stage. I think a couple of people already joined. I already kicked that one person out that accidentally joined. So I've set it private. I accidentally set it public for some reason. But there's 14, I think, spots at the moment in this league. If we do get a huge influx of people, we will make a full league where you can get heaps of people in, like 100 or something.
Yeah.
We'll do an open league is what it's called. That's what I was trying to say. If we do get a lot, then we will do an open league. But at this stage, I just thought we'll start small, we'll see how we go, and I just wanted to really see how it goes. And the winner of the AFL Fantasy League, so I'm pretty good at it, and you're pretty good at it too. So if we win it, we're not giving anything away. But if you do win it, you can beat us. You can beat everyone. We will be giving away a $125 gift card to the AFL store. So you can get any sort of Guernsey for your team if you want. And we will be doing the same thing for a tipping comp as well, but the tipping, AFL tipping website or whatever hasn't updated for 2024 yet, so we haven't started a league. But as soon as that is mentioned or released, then we will announce it on the pod as well. And you may also have noticed that the channel logo has changed. We're doing a bunch of stuff, trying to revamp the channel in terms of how it looks and stuff, make it look really cool. We've got some really cool plans for the channel this year, even some merch or whatever. So we've got some really big plans, guys, and we really can't wait to go into this year. You've seen a couple of things that we've been talking about. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
I'm a bit excited that we're coming into the start of the season and what we've got planned for the new season starting.
Yeah, we're fucking in our pre-season too.
Yeah.
We've been on our pre-season. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we're not going to get any injuries, but we're going to...
Yeah, I mean, I may do a soft tissue with my forearm from lifting up a coffee. Anyway, let's get into the 2024 predictions. Now, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing predictions for... First, we're going to start with the players, like the Brownlows and stuff. Next week, we'll be doing the pass marks for every single team. And then the week after that, so I think it's episode 48, we'll be doing our predictions for the teams. And we'll also be doing a ladder predictor as well on that. Remember we did it last year with the Squiggle? We're doing the same thing again, predicting every single game and looking at it, seeing who the biggest and small, the big movers and the teams who go down the most. So, let's start off. We'll get to the Brownlow medal. Now, obviously, the second most prodigious player award now, that will be... We've obviously known now that the Boundary Riders medal is the most prestigious medal.
Everyone has to be able to win. Everyone wants to win that medal.
Yeah, I heard that players have been talking about it in the changing rooms.
Yeah,
so I mean that's big talk. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll be predicting who wins the Boundary Riders medal as well. But with the Brownlow, I'm going to start off first, and I'm going to say Marcus Bontempelli. Now, it's a bit hard for Bontempelli because he does get his votes taken away from him quite a lot from players like McRae, Treloar, Liberatore and that. But I think this year, Luke Beveridge has obviously been under the pump quite a bit. I think he needs to put all his midfield weight on Marcus Bontempelli, and he needs to be the one to lift them through to make finals this year as well, because I don't know how they're going to go this season for the Bulldogs. And I think finally, after a couple of years of Bontempelli being held back from the Brownlow, missing out by a couple of votes here and there, I think Bontempelli will be the 2024 Brownlow medalist. Alright, so I've seen your prediction. I actually don't mind your prediction. Who have you gone with?
I've went with Tom Green from the Giants. I think hearing a lot of his pre-season, I know it's only early, but he's come back in ripping form. And there's a lot of players, like ex-players, Phil Davis actually came out recently saying he's going to be the next captain, and he's got a lot of leadership attributes. And I think last year he polled pretty well, and I think besides Toby Green stealing a few votes when he plays really well, he should be polling pretty highly. He's not really injury prone, so I don't think he'll get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Tom Green will be up there with them.
Yeah, I think he's a really big chance to cause not an upset, but if you picked it right now, I think he's not as much talked about because he's not in a Victorian team, so maybe he's not talked about as much. But I think Tom Green's every chance, and I think sometimes as well we see a year before they win a Brownlow, players start to get votes. The umpires start to realise, this player's good or whatever. And we saw how good a year he had in 2023. So I think Tom Green's every chance in my opinion. After that, we get to the Coleman medal. Now, we've both picked the same here.
Yeah.
We've both picked Charlie Curnow. Now, I'm going to tell you why I've picked Charlie Curnow for the Coleman medal to go 3 in a row. Now, I don't know many players that have ever done that.
No, I don't think it will happen very often or any time.
Yeah. But with Carlton, they have the 11th easiest draw next year, which is basically middle ground. But they actually have the 3rd easiest draw out of the teams who made the finals in 2023.
Surprisingly.
So I actually think that's really, really good for them. And also, Carlton play North Melbourne and Richmond twice. That is going to be easy pickings for Charlie Curnow to bag some goals. Richmond are on the way down, I believe. And North Melbourne, do they even have a tall defender?
Not that I can think of.
Not that I can think of. So at this stage right now, I think Charlie Curnow is going to go back to back to back.
Yeah. Pretty much what you said, and the fact is that he doesn't have anyone else. Like Harry Mackay, he's a hit and miss. If he can get them both firing, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, they'll be top 2 if they both can fire. But if they don't, they've only got Charlie Curnow does do most of the heavy lifting. They haven't really had any experienced small forwards up there, and I think it's all Charlie Curnow again.
Yep.
And another pre-season, he hasn't had a lot of injuries since he had that huge one a couple of years ago. So a lot he's on his shoulders.
Into his prime now.
Yeah, and I think he's into his prime. So he looks like he's going to go back to back to back, like you said.
Do you think there's a chance that maybe Nick Larkey can get involved here? I think that he could.
Yeah, I think he could, but I just... The one I think who could actually do it this season is Taylor Walker. If it is anyone else that could do it, I think Taylor Walker could do it. You think he can push one more time? One more.
I just think that, North Melbourne have got the 2nd easiest draw. Not a surprise, obviously, they finished 2nd to bottom. I can't believe the Gold Coast got the easiest draw. They should be making...
No, that's what they think, because
but we'll talk about that more when the team stuff comes out. Ben King could be a chance too. But I just think that Nick Larkey kicked 71 goals, arguably was the best goal kicker last year because of the fact that he didn't have the opportunity of playing North Melbourne twice or playing West Coast like both Taylor Walker and Charlie Curnow. So Nick Larkey, I think, is a little bit of a smoky for it. But again, can you give them that much of... It's hard to pick Nick Larkey because North Melbourne just don't have the ball down there enough. And I don't trust them to get any better this year.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they're probably going to get worse. So, that's my thoughts on Charlie Curnow. Next, we've got the Rising Star. Now, I've gone with George Wardlaw for North Melbourne. Now, obviously, he did debut last year, but he didn't play 10 games, I believe.
So maximum of 10 games and under 21.
21? Yeah,
I think it's 21.
Right. Yeah. So, George Wardlaw is my choice for the Rising Star. I think this year with North Melbourne, I think he's going to get prime midfield position as long as he stays fit. I think that with him, Sheasel, obviously he can't win it. So I think that George Wardlaw has every chance for North Melbourne. He's going to get so much opportunity in the midfield. Players retiring like Ben Cunnington and that. I think that Luke Davies-Uniacke, Jai Simpkin, George Wardlaw, Sheasel's going to be in there. I think that's the main midfield group. I think that he's every chance to go and win it in 2024.
Yeah. I've went with probably the most obvious one is Harley Reid, probably the favourite.
Now, I don't think I've heard much about this
guy. I don't know. I haven't either.
I've heard that he didn't want to go to Western Australia.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've... I think it's the most obvious choice, and what... the only reason he wouldn't win it is if he gets an injury. Like Matt Rao did win his first 2 years and he couldn't win it after that.
Yeah.
I think also with Adam Sims coming out during the week, saying that he's going to be playing off halfback and through the midfield,
that's just the Harry Sheasel role.
Or Nick Dacos 2.0. Yeah. So I think that's the way he's going to win it. Yeah. And he's going to win the Rising Star easily.
I did actually hear about that. And actually, the first reason why I didn't pick Harley Reid, I've still gone with George Wardle. I think he's a big chance here. The only reason why I didn't pick Harley Reid at first, because I thought he was going to play a small, medium forward. I thought that was his role. And then for some reason they're chucking him at halfback. I didn't really hear a lot about his disposal efficiency. I thought he was more like that Dustin Martin type. That's what I was thinking. But I think Harley Reid, with the mentioning of that, as long as he can get game time into him and he plays every single game like Sheasel basically did, I think he's every chance.
Yeah.
After that, we get to the best recruit. There's basically anyone that came in through a trade, basically, is what we're saying, or a free agency. I've gone with Lachie Schultz. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for quite a while, you would know that we've been huge fans of Lachie Schultz.
Yeah.
We basically said that the way that he got from Fremantle to Collingwood is an absolute joke.
It was a bag of chips.
They basically just threw a bag of chips at at Fremantle, and they were like, oh, that's fair enough.
Yeah, we'll give it to you.
Yeah. So I think that Lachie Schultz has every chance. I think that being a small forward in Collingwood, as long as he can keep up if he can play the same game that he plays at Fremantle, he's going to kick 40, 50 plus goals this year.
Yeah.
I think he's a very underrated player, and I think that now that he's playing for a big club in Victoria, I think he's going to be... I think the AFL are finally going to realise how good a player this guy is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Swans fan, you're a Port fan, and we know how good he is because we follow the footy way too much. We don't have much lives. But I think Lachie Schultz has every chance to be one of the best recruits of 2024. Now, you've picked someone different again, so...
I don't think many people are talking about how big of an influence Outtro is going to have on Hawthorn. I don't think anyone's really talking about how big of an influence he's actually going to have. I think with him, Mitch Lewis, Jack Ginnivan, Hawthorn, and Jack Gunston as the experience there, I think there's going to be a big hype on Hawthorn. And I don't think how much big... With also like the players like Newcomb, Will Day... Their new midfield, their new look defence. I think it's going to be really good for Hawthorn, and with Outtro coming off a mediocre year at Gold Coast, maybe the new look of Hawthorn will benefit him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call, and I don't think he has been talked about a lot. And this guy did kick 40 plus goals for the Gold Coast the year before last.
Yeah.
For the Gold Coast as well. So I think Hawthorn are growing into something I think they can grow into something the next couple of years. I think they're going to be one of the big movers of this year. And I think he's going to have every chance. The only thing I have marked against Outtro is the fact that sometimes he just doesn't look interested.
Yeah, and that's the criticism that a lot of commentators have on him, is that he doesn't look interested half the time.
Yeah, if he's not getting the ball, he's not going to give a fuck.
But I think also that Sam Mitchell's the type that will put into him is like, if you don't shape up and look interested, you're out.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that could work less in my favour of being the best recruit, that he won't play a lot of games. But I think he'll shape up and Sam Mitchell will get to him. They'll play alright this year with that new look forward line.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough call. Next we get to the most disposals. Not really an award here, just whoever gets the most amount of touches. I'm going to go with Nick Dacos. I know it's an easy call. He was on track to get the most disposals in 2023.
He was going to dominate everyone.
Yeah.
He was going to dominate everyone.
Yeah. I think he'll do it again. He'll be fine. He'll be fit again. There's not really much I can say about this. I think Nick Dacos he gets a lot of those easy handballs at the back to set up the play that quarterback role for Collingwood. So I just think he's going to be able to get a lot of touches, and I think that's my really big call there for most disposals. Huge call. Don't think anyone's ever made that decision before. Anyway.
I've went with Sam Walsh. I've went with that decision because he missed all the preseason last season. He missed a lot at the start of the season last year as well.
Yeah, he missed the first 4 rounds.
And him coming back into form after that magnificent final series he played, I think it's going to be a huge year for him. I'll lock him in for All-Australian already. I'm calling him for that one.
He's a smoky for the Brownlow as well.
And he's a smoky for the Brownlow.
Yeah.
It'll be a big year for him, I think.
Yeah, we saw how good a final series he had. I think he won the finals medal, didn't he? The Gary Ayres medal.
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
Yeah, I think he won the medal, so I think he's every chance. And he was one of my thoughts when I was thinking about potential Brownlow choices, he was definitely up there. I just picked Bontempelli basically on history, but I think Sam Walsh has every chance. And finally, to the most important medal, most important player prediction of this segment, basically, is who will be the second ever Boundary Riders medalist. Now, last year, Zach Butters was the inaugural winner. He won by one vote. It was an entertaining count.
It was intense. It was really intense.
An intense count. We did it live. It was very good. We'll be doing it again live at the end of the year. We got to do it. If we ever do live stuff, like in a big stadium or in a big in a venue, like in a pub or something, this is what we should be doing. Anyway, we've both actually picked the same, and this guy would have won it if he played the whole season last year.
He had to play one more game, and I think he would have. I think he just had to. Well, he missed the last 5 weeks. Nick Dacos, and I think
he was our choice for the Boundary Riders medal. Nick Dacos. Now, the Boundary Riders medal isn't like the Brownlow. We do pick it based... It's not a midfielder's medal. For example, last year we had Harry Cunningham receive a vote in a game. We've seen a lot of defenders get votes, a lot of forwards. It's not just who is the most disposed on the ground. However, Nick Dacos was very close to winning it last year. And he would have won it. He got pipped to the post in the last game because Zach Butters got, I think, 2 votes in the last game in the Port Richmond game.
Yeah, Port Richmond,
Yeah. So, you remember you were watching it, like, fuck yeah, Zach Butters won. Well, I didn't rig it either. So
I didn't poll it, so I didn't...
Yeah, you didn't poll it.
I didn't poll it, yeah.
But we will be focusing heavily on games this year, watching as many games as we can to get these as accurate as possible. We may even change up a little bit of the voting. I'm thinking maybe of giving like a bonus point at the end of the round for the best forward and the best defender, like key position players, to maybe just give them an extra boost to give them a chance. Yeah. Because like even just like the best key defender, best key forward of the week, just give them an extra point, just give them a chance. Because I think even Toby Green almost had a chance of winning. I think he finished 5th in the Boundary Riders.
He was pretty high up there.
He was pretty close. Yeah. So, I know that obviously a lot of the players up the top of the Boundary Riders medal were midfielders, but at the end of the day, they are the most eye-catching because they get the ball the most. So it's pretty hard to not pick them. But yeah, I think a pretty simple reason why I'm picking Nick Dacos is because he's going to be all over the ball this year. I think that, he was on track to win everything last year.
Yeah, he would have won absolutely every medal last season. Yeah. If he played the last 5 matches.
Yeah, so I think that he's every chance of going through again. And he's our choice for the Boundary Riders medalist. We're not going to try and rig it to make him win because there's no betting here. This is just our predictions. Really,
unless you guys want us to, unless you want to bet on it.
Unless you want to bet on it, put it on sports bet. Imagine that. The Boundary Riders sports bet, that'd be hilarious. That's basically all the player predictions we have for 2024 so far. If you want us to predict anything else, coaches' votes and other sort of stuff, then let us know. We will, like I said, next week we'll be doing the pass marks for every single team, and then the week after that we will be doing the ladder prediction, full ladder breakdown, and the team stuff. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that. And then before we get into our World Sports segment, another big talking point throughout the week. This was more earlier in the week, probably I think it was just around the time when we just posted the last podcast. But the AFL have announced, weirdly, that they will not be posting player weights anymore. I don't know why this is such a story. Who cares?
We can tell by just looking at them if they look fitter or not, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've noticed for the last 3 years now that Jake Stringer is the most unfit AFL player I've ever seen. Well, not ever seen, the last few years. So I don't really need to know that. And if you really care that much about the player's weight, get a life. I'm not someone who's going to sit there and say, oh, this is because of the PC bullshit or whatever. I just don't care. I understand knowing the height of players. I think that's kind of interesting, I guess, like for draftees and that. But at the end of the day, I don't care how much Brodie Grundy weighs. No. I don't care. As long as I see in pre-season that he is not a fat cunt, I don't care. So why is people like Kane Cornsnat sitting there saying, the world's gone soft? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, no, I just think it's stupid. And, I just don't think it really matters.
Does it really honestly going to change the way you watch the footy or watch your preseason or follow the preseason if you don't know how much fucking Max Gorn weighs. I don't care.
No. The only ones that should care is the physios and doctors at your club.
Exactly. I'm not watching The Biggest Loser. I don't care about what their weight is every week. Just get on with it. Tell me how these players are performing in the pre-season. By the way, can the team stop posting these sweaty photos of all these players? I do not care. Do you realise when they fucking post all these photos that every single player is in their prime? Oh my god. I saw all these photos of like fucking the Crows and like Josh Rochelle looking the most buff guy ever. I don't want to see that.
No.
Just show me, like, if you want to show pre-season stuff, show like some little clips of like them kicking the footy or something to show some skills. I don't want to see fucking Josh Rochelle lifting up a huge dumbbell of fucking weight.
No.
And they post
unless if he's broken his arm, maybe you should. That's the information we want to know. If he's done an injury.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care that he fucking lifted a new PB. Who cares?
No.
God,
the only PBs I want to know is actually the time trials, the 2K time trials. They're actually interesting because it actually shows how much effort a bloody person is putting into pre-season.
Yeah, and Errol Gordon won it for Sydney, so just keeps on top of everything. Good old Errol.
You think he could actually go Brownlow?
Oh, he's his chance, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think I think the Gold Coast game kind of proved that he can be tagged.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how that goes, but. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's a chance as well. I think Chad Warner's a bit of a chance too for Sydney. I think that he had a pretty down year, but I think he can bounce back. I think Sydney had a bit of a down year, to be honest. I think they were lucky to make... In the end, they kind of... not... I won't say they filled in, because they did have a good end of the year, but they were almost just filling the spot.
The only reason they got it was because they...
There was still 40 seconds left. Anything could have happened. No, I agree with you. We got a bit lucky. But guys, before we move into our world sport, of course, like I forget to mention every episode, we do have a Patreon. On the Patreon, we do have this podcast going out early, as well as our Twinners podcast, our comedy sort of podcast goes out 2 weeks earlier. The Twinners podcast, this one goes out early, a day or two early. So if you want to listen to it a little bit earlier, basically as it's coming out of our mouths, you can get that. The Boundary Riders videos come out early on there. I think there's 2 videos right now that I've got done, but I'm not releasing them until, I don't have a video ready. So that's there now if you want to watch them. And all exclusive stuff like news and that, all the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that we're going to be doing in the future, we'll be announcing there first. So if you want to join that, the link will be down below. It's just a couple of $bucks a month. If you want to join that, down below, make sure to join. If you don't, completely fine. Let's get into world sport. I don't have anything for cricket.
Well,
soccer.
Cricket was pretty boring this week. The Big Bash home and away season finished.
Oh.
There is a game that's as we're talking tonight, but they're both out of finals, so who gives a shit? The finals are on Friday, Saturday. Well, on this weekend, the final stuff for the BBL.
Did the Strikers make it in the end?
Yeah, they finished 4th. We play Scorchers in the end.
Alright, so we're out. Anyway.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry, I haven't really been following cricket too much. I have actually been watching the highlights of most of the BBL games, but yeah, I just haven't really followed it. I do think it is good to see the BBL is starting to gain a lot more popularity in the part this year. After last year, it went down, and the last few years has been going downhill. So I'm happy to see that. I just think the Test cricket, that actually started today, and I completely forgot about it. I only heard about it on the radio. We're playing the West Indies, and shock horror, we knocked them over for about 150 runs. So whoop-de-doo, we go and beat them again.
Yeah, it's like... The most surprising thing about that is that I heard that there's 20,000 at day one. I was surprised there were so many people there.
Why the hell would they start on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I know. I don't get it.
They do that. That seems stupid to me. I mean, it's in... And why the hell are they not having a day-night test?
Because it's one at Gabba next week.
We talked about this last week about Test cricket dying. Have more than one.
Yeah.
SA had the... How good has the last few years been when we have those day-night tests? Oh, we're having one in the Gabba. I don't care. Have them fucking 2 of them.
Yeah.
Have 3 of them. Have them all. I don't care.
Especially when it's a low-ranked team like the West Indies that you won't get a lot of fans too.
Exactly.
It's the perfect time to do it.
Exactly. Australians going to get on the fucking piss no matter what. So fucking at least get them out on the piss at night.
Yeah.
When it's fucking stinking hot. It's going to be Wednesday, so we'll finish on Saturday.
We'll probably finish Friday.
We'll probably finish tomorrow, probably. But it's going
to finish on day 5 would have been a Sunday.
Yeah, well, it's finally now starting to get hotter.
Yeah.
So have it at night and make people will go.
Yeah.
When we went to the Ashes a couple of years ago, it was a day-night test. It was really good at night.
Yeah.
But anyway, and the ball was fucking moving. Anyway, fucking hell. Move on. All right, so the soccer. Now, the Premier League's been kind of off this week due to FA Cup earlier on, and then they've had a couple of games. I think they were kind of like catch-up games.
It's been more of a split round.
Yeah, it's been kind of split up because they've tried to get the catch-up games out, and also like AFCON, which we'll talk about in a second, and Asian Cup has been going on.
Yeah.
Now, before we move into that stuff, I want to talk about some clubs in trouble with point deduction. Now, before we get into Manchester City, who have been, sitting there for 5 years, basically waiting for their charges to be heard, Everton are going to lose some points again, apparently. Fucking hell, if I'm an Everton fan, I'd be fucking ropeable. So apparently Everton and Nottingham Forest are expecting to be told that they are going to be charged with breaking Premier League spending rules this week and could incur more point deductions. Both of them are right down the bottom of the Premier League table.
Well, if I'm Luton Town at the moment, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, and Burnley as well. Them two must be thinking, fucking hell, we have a chance here of surviving, boys. How the hell... Imagine if they did survive. That would be so... I mean, if they survived based on the fact that two teams lost points. If Luton or Burnley were somehow able to break out of the relegation zone and actually got their, like warranted staying up, that's fair enough. But if both of them make it up, because at the moment Nottingham Forest are on 15th with 20 points and Everton are 17th with 17 points. So I don't know how many points they would lose. It depends on how bad the charges are. But let's say they both lose 5 points. Let's say 5. So Nottingham Forest automatically would drop down to 18th and Everton would drop down to equal 19th. So Luton Town would survive and Burnley would be right in the race to get back into it, really. Luton Town do have a game in hand on Everton as well. So if I'm Everton, I'm sitting there thinking, fuck me. What have they been using all this money on at first?
Yeah, because if you look at that squad, they've probably overpaid for them.
Yeah, for the majority of them. I mean, the only one player I think has been good for them over the past few years is Decore. And he was a really good player for Watford before he moved, and he's been a pretty good midfielder for Everton. But other than that, fucking hell. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, fucking useless.
Always injured.
Pickford's been good. He's basically kept them up.
Yeah, but he's always been there though, so he's been there.
So he's not the reason.
Well, you wouldn't think he'd be on that. You couldn't think he'd be on that much money since.
Well, he must be on something because he would have left by now. Surely. You
would
have thought that. Surely Manchester United are sitting there thinking, why don't we just throw the money at him instead of Onana? Fucking that would have been a good idea. Anyway, or Chelsea fucking should have done it. They spent so much. They bought all this money and they bought some. Last year they picked the sub goalkeeper for Brighton.
Yeah,
and then he got injured. So fucking whatever. Anyway, that's probably the big news. And then now they've mentioned that Manchester City are finally. They said that there was a date set for the hearing over the Manchester City's 115 financial charges. And I was very disappointed because I clicked on the article and it was complete clickbait. There was no mention of when the date will be.
No, of course not.
I looked everywhere and it said nothing. Literally did not mention a date. I don't even think it mentioned a month. So it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
All the comments are like, yeah, bro, there's not even a date here. What the fuck? No response from Optus, so... Good on Optus, fucking idiots. Anyway, so I don't know when Manchester City are going to get their charges handed down. Probably not until next season. Or, next couple of years, when they're really high up and they've got like a 20-point lead, maybe they'll give them a 10-point deduction.
Yeah, maybe when they win another travel or something, when they're close to doing that.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, look, they're up by 20 points. We'll give them a 10-point deduction, make them look a little bit happy. Anyway. And then there's like these stupid Manchester City supporters going, oh, you're just jealous. What the fuck would I be jealous of them for? I'm jealous of a team. Oh my god, get over yourself. Anyway. Fake Manchester City supporters anyway. Fucking you wouldn't have been following them fucking, 15 years ago?
No.
Wouldn't have even known them. Anyway. But I guess it's the same for a lot of teams. And I mean, I'm a Chelsea supporter, so what the fuck do I know? That's basically all of that sort of stuff. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Asian Cup. So Australia won their first game against India good win. I mean, it's India, so who really cares? But I still think it's good to see that we won our first game, and we should be good enough to win our group. I think that's pretty fair.
We should. And we've actually never won every game. No, sorry, we won not back since we actually first started in the Asian Cup that we actually won all our games. So that's another thing Australia could try and do is win all our group games.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a good start for us in the group stage. I think that when's our next game? Do you know when the next game is?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. It's like Sunday morning, basically.
10:30 Saturday night.
Yeah. So it's on tonight. It's on tomorrow night. Yeah, it's on tomorrow night. 18th of Jan. Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, so it's on tomorrow night. We play Syria. We should be fine against Syria and win that. And then, we should be fine to top that group. Saw a couple of other performances. There weren't really too many upsets. South Korea, obviously, they won 3-1 in their first game. Not the best looking start for them, but I still think they're the favourite.
Yeah.
I think with the likes of Son, Lee, who's that centre back? Lee. I think it's Lee, isn't it?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. He plays for Bayern Munich. That's what I'm trying to think of. But he's been really good he's good for them. He'll be fine. And then the Wolves striker, he's done well. I think they're the favourites at this stage. Japan are obviously looking good as well.
Japan always look good in these competitions.
Yeah, the younger Japanese players that are starting to come up, like Mitoma and Kubo, they look fucking good. I think they're definitely breeding some good players in Japan as well.
Yeah.
So I think that the Asian Cup definitely starting off well. I think that I honestly think Australia have a bit of a chance. I think they can actually keep on going. The problem is I think that they're pretty thin on the fact that they're experienced players. Like they're very thin. They're thinned out after the 11 that they play because they didn't bring in a lot of players like Leckie and that were left out because of injury and like not enough game time, which I get is fair enough, but. Yeah, I just think that we may struggle if one or two players get injured.
Well, I think it's we're going to struggle because we don't really have we don't have a lot of scorers, goal scorers. But if you look at it,
but we've haven't had that since what?
Yeah, yeah, but you look at it. Harry Suter's already got 10 goals. I think only got one player in the squad that actually got more than that, maybe one or two. So it's not great reading if you look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, our only striker. Other than Bruno Fioraoli who came in like
Mitch Duke.
Is Mitch Duke, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Like, Mitch Duke has never really been much of a scorer for us anyway.
And the thing is, he's never... Because he's pretty... not old, but he doesn't normally play a lot of 90 minutes games.
No, I can't remember the last time he did. I think he always gets subbed out in the 60th minute. He only plays for about an hour. So I think that, I think we'll be fine in the group stage. It's just how we're going to find our avenues to go once we get to the the more important stuff. So that's my thoughts. I think obviously Saudi Arabia are a chance as well. Obviously learning from Ronaldo. Well, no. Do you think are there that many Saudi players even playing in the Saudi league anymore? It looks like they just bring.
Yeah, I know. Just bring it. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure there are. I'm not saying that they're not, but I think that they are definitely a big chance as well. Could you? Like I said, I think that South Korea are the favourites at the moment. That's my thoughts.
I think it's Japan.
You think it's Japan?
I think it's Japan at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. We're not giving Australia a chance. Fucking going to lose it all. Anyway, let's move to AFCON. So that's the African Cup of Nations. That's been going on as well. Have you been following much of this?
Not really.
No. Okay. So I've been following a bit of it. One of the really big surprise losses so far is that Ghana lost to Cape Verde. That's a shocking loss for Ghana. They are one of the better teams in Africa, in the African Cup of Nations. And to lose their first game as well at the group stage to a team that I don't think is ranked in the top 100 in the world is not a very good start at all. Algeria as well actually drew to Angola. And Algeria would be one of the favourites. They've got the likes of Mahrez and that. I think that they should be... They did give away a late penalty. I think it was Tottenham's Bentancur who gave away the penalty. So that was not the best for them either. But again, they can turn it around. Also, something that I noticed in the African Cup of Nations. Fucking hell. If they did some of the fouls that they did in the Premier League, they'd be getting red cards. These guys fucking go in hard and they hit hard. It's like watching... It's almost up there with like tackling, like full on like AFL shit. These guys fucking hit in hard as well. And the ref was like, yeah, let it go. He just did not care. But so far, I think the overwhelming favourites, in my opinion, are Senegal. The fact that they've got one of the few African nations that have got a pretty decent defence. Like, African teams are really known for, like, their attacking flair.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot that are known for, like, defensive nature, really. I mean, if you think of, like, the best defenders in the world, I don't think many of them would be African players. Just not thinking about it. Like, Chelsea, or former Chelsea player went to, I think, Al Hilal now, is Koulibaly.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good. I'm pretty sure he plays for Senegal. I've got to fucking up. You know how many fucking...
Yeah, he does actually. Yeah.
You know how many flags they've got that are yellow, green, and red? They all look all these bloody flags. It's hard to decipher which flag is which when I'm looking at the highlights. Anyway, I think they're huge favourites right now. I think they're a huge chance to go on and win it all. I think a good start from a few other African nations as well, a couple of the favourites. And most of them are going into the second round now, I believe. Yeah, so there's one more group stage game. So Group F is the last group stage group before they go to the second games each. Morocco get to play as well, and obviously how good they went in the World Cup. They got to the semi-final, so they're our favourites as well, and they've got a pretty good defensive structure. But looking right now, Group D is an interesting look. So Algeria were expected to top it, and I still think they will. But right now they're in second, and Burkina Faso are the leaders of Group D. Now, I could not tell you for the life of me. If you asked me if you told me that I have to pick where this country is, and if you don't, you die, I'd just grab the gun and shoot myself, because I don't know what the fuck that is. But anyway, right now, yeah, like Egypt even drew their game against Mozambique. That's not the best as well. I mean, the fact that Mo Salah couldn't score. He had a couple of opportunities in those games for Egypt as well, and he fucking couple of poor start to that. Nigeria as well didn't win their first game; they drew. Ivory Coast are the hosts, so they're obviously going as pretty well favoritised because host nations usually do. Oh no, they're not. No, they are hosting. I'm an idiot. Anyway, that's also in the Asian Cup as well. Qatar are hosting that, by the way. So, yeah. And Saudi Arabia, I think are up there, but I think I think Senegal are the favourites so far.
Yeah, I think, looking at the team, I've always been a fan of Senegal with...
Mane.
Yeah, always was a fan of Mane when he was at Liverpool, but I think they've always had a good structure. They've always had a good team, and they've always had world-class players in every position.
Yeah. I think that's a fair enough thing to say. So let's move on to our final thing, which is the NFL. Now, the playoffs obviously were this weekend. Luckily, we are recording this on a Wednesday because we got the final playoff game for the wildcard matches. And I'll go through the results first. The Lions won by 1 point over the Rams. That was a pretty close game. Chiefs smashed the Dolphins. Texans smashed the Browns. Bills beat the Steelers. And then the two other games that I really want to get into, the Bucks beat the Eagles, and the Packers absolutely the scoreboard flatters the Cowboys.
Yeah, it does.
But the Packers won by 16. We'll talk about the Bucks first. The fact that even though the Bucks had the home game, the Eagles I think were favourites here.
Of course,
I think we both just tipped them to win.
Well, I was just shocked that someone from the NFC South actually won the playoff game. Whoever it was,
what would have happened if the Falcons made it?
It would have been interesting if whoever won that. If it wasn't the Bucks that won the NFC South, if it was the Saints or the Falcons, if they would have beaten the Eagles today, because the way the Eagles played, it was horrible.
They only scored in one quarter.
They were horrible.
They were, in this team, I think I actually put it down. Yeah, so the Eagles what a massive drop-off in the season as well. So in the end, their record in the end of the season was 11-6. But they lost 6 of their last 7 games.
Yeah.
So they just fell straight off the face of the earth, and maybe we should have seen this coming. Maybe we should have seen the fact that they were going to lose this game. I think midway through the season we were saying the Eagles are one of the favourites to win the whole thing. And now they go out in the first round of the playoffs. I did not see that coming. I thought for sure that at mid-season I thought they were a huge chance. And I think Jason Kelsey also announced his retirement today.
Yeah, which was a bit sad. But with the
I mean, I'd rather what's his name retire so we don't have to hear about Taylor Swift anymore. But
yeah, that would
be good to see.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind Travis Kelce. I think he's right. But yeah, I think that's a huge loss for the Eagles. I thought they were going to win. I thought they would bounce back in the playoffs, start off really well, and maybe get on a bit of a run. But they lose their first game to the Bucks, and yeah, I mean, I can't see the Bucks going through next week.
Not against the Lions.
No. I think the Lions are definitely building something. They finally got their first win, I think, in 32 years in a playoff game, so it was really good to see. Kind of I wouldn't mind seeing the Detroit Lions go and win it. I don't think they've won one before, so that'd be kind of good to see.
Yeah, it would be nice to see the Lions.
I'd like to, as an Australian, you love to see the underdog winning, you know? That's kind of what I would believe. But let's talk about the Cowboys. What the... I know that maybe we should have seen this coming because of the fact that they have not had a good record in playoffs in the past.
Well, yeah.
But the way that, the Cowboys, I think, what were they? They were, down by, 20 points.
They were 27-0, I reckon, at one stage.
Yeah, the fact that this game was almost in permanent text written down that the Cowboys just going to go through it.
Yeah, and especially because it was at home. Yeah. They hadn't lost a game at home all fucking season.
Yeah, it even says here, I think you're right, it was 27-0. And then the Cowboys finally scored. And then they scored I think they scored one late in the third and then two early in the fourth. So I think it was 30-odd to 40 for the Packers. So it was actually quite close. But the Packers just let them get a couple of easy scores.
It seemed like it, didn't it? It seemed like, we'll just let them maybe look like they come back into it. And then...
I mean, the Cowboys won 7 of straights. I think all 7 of their home games in the main season. And their first playoff game. And I know that the Cowboys have a pretty poor record in playoffs. Recent history. I think they've made it the past 3 years and haven't got past the first round. But you were they were second seed?
Yeah.
And they went out easily.
Yeah. Well, it's 3 certainties in life. Death, taxes, and the Cowboys choking in the playoffs.
Well, that's exactly what you got to say. Because, I mean, they've done it again. I mean, how can you play the lowest ranked team in the playoffs and get demolished?
Yeah.
They got smashed in this game. The fact that, I'm sure, what's his name, Aaron Rodgers is sitting there thinking, well, I'm happy with the money, but fucking hell, they didn't even need me. Fucking hell. Dak Prescott, he threw 2 interceptions as well. Not really the best. I don't know. It just seems like on defense they failed, the Cowboys, which, I mean, if you're looking at their 2 lines, you probably say their defense is their weakest, but you can't be doing that.
No.
That they was second seed and they go and lose an absolute... I don't want to say a gimme, but on all lines, stats, things like that, Cowboys should be winning.
Their whole season was pretty much said, like you said first up, it was written in permanent text that they were going to win that match.
Yeah.
It was so certain they were going to do it.
Yeah, we were waiting to see who they were going to play next week.
Yeah.
I actually saw the notification come on my phone. I'm like, oh, hang on. I think they've lost the game. And I looked it up and I looked at... Sorry. I checked the scores. I think it was in my break at work. And I saw that it was 36-10 or something. It was something really big, Packers side. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. This is the one game I had written down that they were going to win. Easy pick. But, I mean, they went and lost and... Fucking hell. Kind of opens up for the top teams to really dominate next week. For a couple of them. So obviously going into the divisional playoffs next week, the Ravens play the Texans in their first game, obviously being the top seed. 49ers play the Packers, Lions play the Bucks, and the Bills play the Chiefs. So, I think if we're going for our tips now, I think the Ravens going to beat the Texans. I think it's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I would say the same, yeah.
49ers play the Packers. I don't think the Packers can do it again.
It's not. I don't think. I don't
think the 49ers will let that happen.
No.
I think the 49ers will win that one pretty convincingly. I will pick the Lions over the Bucks, but I do give I think this one will actually be a pretty close game. I think the Bucks will give them a chance.
Watching the Bucks in that wild card match, they can actually do something. The Bucks, and they're playing good defense, which I think you wouldn't really normally say about. How they've been playing this season, but I think the Lions do keep going.
Yeah. And then the Bills versus the Chiefs. Now the Bills actually do host this game.
Well, but it's not like Miami playing in the snow. So it's both teams are used to playing in the snow. So
yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs on
history.
I'm gonna pick the Chiefs on history. I know the Bills, we've seen this story in the past where the Bills play the Chiefs in playoffs. I just think the Chiefs... I know that Mahomes and his receivers haven't had the best year, but I think that on history, I'm going to give the Chiefs.
No, I can't. I have to go the Bills. I think the Bills are playing too good at the moment, and the fact is that their running game has never been there, the Bills. This season it has been their running game, and I think with their defence, it's played pretty well lately. Yeah. I think that the Bills at home should be able to win, and the fact is, I think their receivers, the Chiefs, are playing pathetic.
Yeah.
Kelsey still can't get a touchdown.
Bloody Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And
breaking hearts like always. Breaking the hearts of the Chiefs supporters.
Yeah, can't wait for her next album. She cost them the playoffs.
Oh, I can't wait for the title of that. Bloody Kelsey ruined my life or something. Anyway, guys, that's basically all we have for the Boundary Riders podcast today. Thank you for listening or watching. If you watched on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to leave us 5 stars and, leave a nice comment, I guess, on either platform. Like we said, join the AFL Fantasy League if you guys are involved in that. Like we said, we'll be doing a tipping comp as well, and the prize for that will probably be the same thing, $125 gift voucher to the AFL store, so you can get whatever you want. We've got some big stuff planned for this year, guys. Last year we kind of started the channel, didn't really know what we're going to do with it, but this year we're really into it, really got some big plans, so make sure to stick around with us, make sure to enjoy the stuff, make sure to let us know if you want some different stuff, like different sports and stuff to talk about in the pod, or different AFL stuff to talk about, let us know. That's all from us. We'll catch us all next week.
See you later, guys.